Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Very good day to you. Welcome to another edition of Life Matters, where every life matters. Today, we delve into the world of holistic wellness and mental health advocacy. Don't forget to interact with us, as we would love to hear from you as always. And don't miss any of our episodes on our YouTube channel, Hilaal TV Life Matters. So I'm thrilled to introduce our esteemed guest today, Aadila Osman. Aadila is not just a specialist wellness counselor, but a beacon of hope for those navigating the challenges of mental health, particularly postnatal depression. Now, with her background in early childhood development, Aadila brings a unique perspective to her role, fostering growth and resilience in individuals of all ages. Her dedication extends beyond her counseling practice as she runs a support group, providing a safe haven for moms facing postnatal depression and volunteers with the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, contributing to mental health awareness on a larger scale. So join us today as we explore Adila's journey and glean insights into creating environments that nurture well-being, resilience, and of course, a sense of community. Welcome to our studios, Aadila. Assalamu alaikum, and shukran so much.
Walaikum salam. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor to be here. I'm really happy that I could be a part of your show today.
We appreciate your time because this is a subject that often nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to conquer or revel in and sort of really understand. It's somewhat of an issue to discuss it or even to bring it about within the community. We highlighted it recently with a psychologist as well, who did his master's in this specific topic, mental health, and the blurring lines within culture, Indian culture specifically. Yes. So I'm sure that is something that you're aware of. But before we get into any of the work you do, just tell us a bit about yourself, Aadila, and where you find yourself now.
All right. So basically, like you said, I've got a Bachelor in Educations degree. That's where I started off. Studying early childhood development. I specialized in special needs. I mean, helping people has always been one of my passions from the time I was young. I've always been in the wellness field and the education sector and stuff. So my journey into mental health was not a straight journey. I started off with doing BA own choice, then jumping into B.Ed. Once I was done with B.Ed, I then went ahead and did all the psychology modules. From there, I started volunteering more, doing as much as I can for the community. And once I realized that, this is what I really want to be in, and although I have the education degree, I don't want to really be a teacher. I'd rather be in mental health because it's such a big challenge that we face in our community today. And from there, I went about getting registered as a specialist wellness counselor. So it wasn't just a straight road. I took many roads to get through to that. So my professional journey, I'm a volunteer counselor. I do telephonic counseling, and I offer support to those in need, and I intervene when required. I also lead a support group, as you mentioned, which is a safe space for all mothers suffering with depression, not just moms who have postnatal depression after they've given birth, for moms with kids of all ages. They're more than welcome to join this group, and it is a free group that I do offer because it's something that's really needed. And with my role as a specialist wellness counselor, I've dealt into personal treatment plannings, one-on-one and group therapy, and championing mental health education. And for me, this has been rewarding to witness my clients achieve significant improvements in their mental and emotional well-being. But at the end of the day, it's not about just my title and my role. It's about the impact. And I feel, I facilitated workshops, promoted mental health awareness, and I constantly update my skills, through professional development and the positive feedback and testimonials that I receive from the people that I've helped. That fuels my dedication because it feels that I'm fulfilling my purpose. My journey has been a colorful journey. I've went from doing teaching to creating a support group to going into wellness counseling for mental health.
And you're a mom as well?
Yes, I'm a mom. Alhamdulillah, I have 2 kids.
We shouldn't leave that behind.
No, 100%.
Often I start with that because
100%. That's my first and foremost job. I'm a mom. I've got a 9-year-old little boy. I've got a 6. She just turned 6 last week. A feisty little 5-year-old girl. Alhamdulillah. And my whole reason for going into the support group for mums was because I experienced postnatal depression with my firstborn, and it was daunting. There was no support available during that time. No one understood what I was going through, and it was seen as a stigma. I had this little baby. I'm supposed to be happy with my little bundle of joy. Alhamdulillah, I felt blessed with him. But the things that I went through dealing with postnatal depression, I just felt moms need a space that they can just express themselves without being judged, and understand that we're not alone in this journey. People just hide what they're going through, afraid of the stigma at the end of the day.
I think it's a story that I think all moms that ever went through that, even if it's baby blues, they should be able to have a safe space to talk about it. Because there's so much stigma around, having a baby and then being all happy and, thrilled that there's this bundle of joy, but yet that's not how you feel inside.
No, definitely not. You're healing from birth. Whether you had normal birth or cesarean, it doesn't matter. You just brought a new life into this world. And on top of that, you've got to now deal with your healing, then your mental well-being, because you've got a complete chemical imbalance. They just took a human being out of you. And then you've got to take care of this baby as well, with all the other responsibilities that you have as a woman, as a mom. And everyone just feels, you're supposed to be smiling and happy with your baby, but they don't know what all moms go through once they've given birth. And at that time, we also born as a new mom, whether it's our first child or our 10th child, we're born as a new mom to that child as well. And there's a lot of pressure on women, to project this perfect image as well.
And it's running a household. You're thinking of maybe you need to go back in a couple of months' time to work, if it is that's the issue. Being a wife as well, because now you have responsibility towards your husband, and sometimes you don't also necessarily get the support. So there's lots riding on feeling the way you are feeling.
No,
and alhamdulillah, the postnatal depression support group is an absolute gem in the community to actually reach out. So glad that you have it. Which area you
So I have it online.
Okay.
I found that
that's
it was
great.
I found
That's
that it was easier. We used to meet up weekly in Roy Hayescral in Centurion.
Okay.
So I got a
Pretoria
community.
side.
Yeah, so more the Pretoria side. So I got a community hall where I managed to get it from the government sector. And we used to meet up weekly there. But then COVID hit. And alhamdulillah, COVID had its benefits. In the sense that everything could go online. So that's when I changed the group to an online weekly group where we would meet on Zoom weekly. And, the moms had a safe space to discuss whatever they were feeling. Whatever it was that they were feeling, they could discuss it freely. And it was just a no judgment zone. And then, once COVID died down, it became a bit more difficult to have these meetings at a specific time weekly. So I've now incorporated it into, or changed it into, a WhatsApp group.
Okay.
So now the mums are free to chat at any time, given, the normal times, not working hours, but, within reasonable time.
Have the space,
And the mums can chat about anything at all, and it's not going to leave that group. You can say whatever you want. You can post your achievements, your failures, anything that you'd like. And the beauty part of it all is that all the mums then come in with their advice or their praise or their stories, that you realize, once again, I'm not only going through this alone. And that's the beauty part of it.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
So we're going to chat more about that support group and how how do you start it? How does it run? Besides the amazing feelings that you get from just being part of this support group.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the key lessons or insights you've gained from your experiences as a specialist wellness counselor and also mental health advocate. What stands out for you?
Okay. So look, certainly, in my role as a support group leader, particularly in the context of online counseling, I've witnessed the profound impact of creating a virtual space for mothers dealing with depression. The online platform allowed for a free and safe environment where the mothers could openly share their struggles and experience. I've had the privilege of utilizing various counseling methods as well to assist these mothers, providing not just emotional support, but also fostering a sense of community. And through the online channels, we've successfully connected, shared information, empowered each other. The virtual format didn't diminish the impact of counseling. Lots of people think that, when it's virtual, it diminishes that face-to-face connection. It didn't. It actually expanded my outreach. I currently have mums who are living in Canada and Saudi Arabia, throughout the world, not only there, that are part of this group. And the beauty part of it all is that in this community, when the moms see that they're struggling, the mom in Canada would come in and say, message me privately at any time because my times are different. So I'm awake at night if you need me, And that's the beauty part of it all. Positive outcomes include the reduction of stigma. That's, around mental health. And these mothers found solace in knowing that they're not alone in their challenges. And the online setting, allowed me to collaborate with other professionals when needed. I could also monitor the progress of my support group members. And we created a supportive network that extended beyond geographical boundaries, like I've said. So that was, the positives that I've seen in what I do.
Now, your background is teaching and that interaction of education. How do you believe your experience as a teacher and leader translates into your role as a specialist wellness counselor?
Okay, so with having the teaching background, it allows me to look at people in the sense that everyone is different. Everyone is unique. So there's different ways to do things for people that you're dealing with. And that has played such a significant role in my wellness counseling journey as well. Because I take from, I worked with little kids when I did my practicals and stuff. And how you see that each child has their own ability. So not each child can be judged. Yes. Not each child can be judged in the same manner. One is artistic, one is an auditory learner, one is, with feelings, a kinesthetic learner. Those sort of things. You've got to understand that each person is unique. And it also comes in when I'm dealing with adults now with my counseling, that it's not a one size fits all approach. It's a different approach when you're dealing with people. And that's why you tailor make their healing journey by helping them in their specific needs and how they would need it, how they would need that help.
And I think it's the same with raising children, You don't, everybody knows these are the rules, but when you approach a child that has maybe slow to warm up process, than a feisty child, you discipline them different, you react to them differently.
You do.
So alhamdulillah, as a mother, that also teaches you to help your clients in a better way as well.
It does. It does. You know what? Motherhood gives you such a wonderful insight into the world. Just looking at this little human beings growing up in front of you, from being that dependent little baby that needed you 24/7 to now growing into these human beings that are becoming independent, that are going out into the world. And as a mother, you see the difference between your children and you appreciate it, that they're completely different individuals with different personalities, and it just shows you so much of the world when you look at it through a child's eyes.
Alhamdulillah. We have to quickly pay the bills, Aadila. When we get back, we continue our conversation with Aadila Osman, a wellness and advocate, a mental wellness advocate, and also runs a postnatal support group, postnatal depression support group. And we delve into that. And we also would like to hear your story. So don't forget to interact with us via our website, our social media pages, and we've also got our email address as well. So let us know a bit about your background, how you got through maybe baby blues or postnatal depression. We'd love to hear from you as always, but we'll be back just after this. Welcome back. We're talking about mental wellness and postnatal depression. Aadila Osman is in studio with us, a specialist wellness counselor, has a background in teaching as well, which really does navigate a smoother approach when it does come to dealing with people suffering from depression or moms with a little bit of baby blues. So Aadila, just before the break, alhamdulillah, such a beautiful story of how you started it. But I want to look at some of the inspiration behind starting the support group, if you may, and dealing specifically with moms with postnatal depression, and how you actually have to deal with it in a specific way, and if it did have any impact that you've seen in their lives, possibly.
Oh, certainly. So, like I said, the inspiration for starting the support group was the journey that I went through myself and getting myself out of postnatal depression. As much as I had my mom, my brother, my sister-in-law, who tried to understand where I was coming from with the postnatal depression. There was no community around me that could get what I was going through. I didn't know anyone else in the same situation as me. So in the start, I felt maybe there's something wrong with me for experiencing this. And I tried to hide it. As much as I tried to hide it, because I felt I'm going to be stigmatized, I'm going to be seen as a bad mom for dealing with this. But over time, I came to realize that this was just a hormonal imbalance that I had, and I needed help for it. So I went about finding the help, doing my research, finding the right people that could help me in this journey. And at the time that I fell pregnant with my second daughter, with my second child, sorry, not my second daughter, with my second child, I did everything in my control not to go through postnatal depression again. So, I created a calmer environment around me. I worked with professionals, who helped me through the whole pregnancy and stuff. During the pregnancy, I lost my dad as well. So it was quite a big impact on my life that I went through, And this was something that I didn't want to go through again. And once I gave birth to my second one, alhamdulillah, it was a much calmer journey. I didn't let outside influences get to me, the people around you that try to create problems in your life and try to push you into this state. I didn't allow them to do that. I kept them at an arm's length this time. And I said, I'm doing things differently. And it was at that time that I had the inspiration to say, what if I found a way to start something for other moms that can prevent them from getting postnatal depression? And if they do, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's find a solution to get out of it, because there is a solution to it. You don't need to deal with this alone. And that is when I approached SADC, and I said, I'd like to create a support group. And at that time, there was only one other postnatal support group that was in Durbanville in Cape Town. So I was the second support group for moms to start in the country. And, it grew from there. Right now, just today we reached over 50 mothers in the group, which is quite a good number, because you must understand, for moms to come forward is a very, very difficult thing. And, it's grown. So right now it's 50. Previously we've had more. Then the moms, feel that they don't need to be a part of it anymore. Leave, come back when they want. It's that sort of a thing. So, and then I needed to create a supportive environment within my group as well. And creating a supportive environment for moms dealing with postnatal depression involved several key strategies. First and foremost, I had to foster an atmosphere of empathy and understanding. I ensure that the members feel heard, that they're validated in their experiences, that acknowledging their unique challenges is very important when it comes to dealing with moms. I encourage open communication, but I do establish ground rules. So when you join the group, I send out the ground rules that's part of the group. That just emphasizes confidentiality, respect, non-judgment, So this creates a more of a safe space for the moms to openly share their thoughts and feelings without the fear of stigma and criticism. Active listening is a crucial component, as it builds trust and reinforces the idea that their experiences are valid and important, no matter what a mom is feeling. Whether it might seem small to you, it's a big thing to them, or whether it's a big thing, you've got to validate their experiences.
And that's also sometimes where that postnatal depression starts, at baby blues. It's not validating how you're feeling, accepting it firstly, and also your partner accepting it, the people around you, so that's supporting you, that accept it. Because
most certainly,
the suppressing those emotions is, I think, actually the base of where the whole problem starts.
By suppressing the emotions, it's exactly like this bottle that's filled up with water. You're just going to get more and more and more water in there, and eventually it's going to start overflowing in other areas of your life, and then it's going to start showing, be it in your marriage, be it in the way you're treating your child, be it in your relationship with your parents, whatever it is, it's going to overflow, and no one's going to get why you're having these outbursts, or why is it that it looks like you're going to explode, But you've been suppressing all these things, and this bottle is just overflowing, and it's coming out in all these other different aspects of your life.
Somebody explained it to me just yesterday. I was also listening to emotional wellness session, and they said it's like trying to push a ball under the water. Like when you're swimming and you have these floaties, and try pushing that under the water. it will stay down as long as you're pushing it.
Pushing it, yes.
But the minute you lose the strength to stop pushing it, it just pops up.
Most
But
certainly.
That's that emotion.
Yes, that's that emotion that just pops up, you know. And no one realizes that this was building up.
Yeah.
You know, they all just look at you like, oh my God, what is
did-
wrong
yeah,
with
what's
you, you
wrong
know? Yeah, so, you know, in part of the support group, I incorporate a mix of structured activities and informal discussions to cater to various communication preferences as well. Because everyone wants to communicate in different ways. And, you know, I take that from my teaching background. Children like to communicate in different ways. And we've got to understand that as adults, we also have different ways of communicating. So, you know, this allows the members to engage in a way that they feel comfortable. And additionally, I provide them with relevant resources, information, coping strategies, you know, to empower them in managing their depression. So I have regular check-ins and follow-ups. You know, it helps maintain a sense of continuity and support, ensuring that no one feels isolated. We celebrate small victories and milestones within the group, which contribute to a positive environment, fostering hope and resilience. It just shows that not everything is dark. Not everything needs to be, you know, about depression. We also have victories. So it's something that we should share, and other moms are happy for you. So ultimately, my approach centers around creating a community where the moms feel connected, understood, and supported. It's not just about addressing the challenges. It's about building a network that empowers them to navigate their journey through postnatal depression with strength and solidarity.
And it's something that needs to be understood when there's someone else that's also going through this. And often that's also the problem, is that you feel alone.
Yes.
So that support group, whether it be online, now let's direct the questions around your telephonic counseling and mental health awareness with regards to SADC. We quickly need to go and pay the bills. I want to look at the telephonic counseling and understand how... So just delve a little bit into the telephonic process. In what ways do you believe the telephonic counseling does have a positive impact on individuals or families compared to, you know, maybe in-person sessions?
Okay, so look, I think telephonic counseling positively impacts the families by enhancing accessibility, providing convenience. In terms of me doing it through a volunteer system, it maintains their anonymity if they'd like.
Okay.
So it also gives them that, where it reduces the stigma for them. They can remain anonymous if they like. It's fostering comfort in a familiar environment also, because they don't need to leave home to do this. It ensures that they're getting care. So people from rural areas are able to call in and get the help that they wouldn't normally be able to get. And that's amazing, because it's reaching out to everyone in the country. And, most of these volunteer helplines are toll-free. So you've got many volunteer helplines that are toll-free, so it's even more accessible at the end of the day. And, it's not costing the person anything as such. It allows for flexible communication styles, and it's making it a valuable alternative to in-person sessions, which not everyone can attend.
Yeah.
That's what I find.
I want to look at, interaction within that typical counseling session, because people often wonder, like, what happens on that telephone call?
Yeah.
I would delve into that with Aadila Osman, our specialist wellness counselor, mental health specialist when it comes to postnatal depression. She has a bit of a teaching background as well, alhamdulillah, and in every way we sort of touch on that. But do interact with us. We'd love to hear from you more just after the short break. Stay with us. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. Stay with us as we establish an understanding of when moms are going through postnatal depression, a little bit of baby blues. We have Aadila Osman, who is a specialist wellness counselor, mental health advocate, as well as a postnatal depression specialist. And also understanding that with her background of teaching helps her navigate these challenges when it does come to mental health support, and being and understanding, some sort of aspect with regards to approaching people and dealing with them, and possibly of all ages. So, Aadila, I want to look at the understanding of telephonic conversations. You are a support counselor for SADC, South African Depression and Anxiety Support Organization, which is a toll-free line. There's a suicide line. I know they even have an ADHD line.
They do, yes.
So they're great mental health support within South Africa. Talk to us about a typical telephonic counseling session and how you establish that rapport, a positive interaction with an effective interaction that creates a support for them, and then that they are able to open up.
Okay, so a typical conversation or typical phone call would be that the caller calls in. As a counselor, we take the call, and this is when we start the conversation, finding out who they are first, where they're from, what do they do, all of these questions. We ask them all of these things, and this allows them to tell us a bit more about themselves before delving into the issue. And we find that, that helps quite a bit in terms of, like an icebreaker with the caller. Okay. It gives them the chance to, tell us who they are before they start with the issue at hand. And then it's all about empathy at the end of the day. When you're listening to the person, it's very difficult because when you, on a telephonic call, you have the absence of visual cues. So it makes it very challenging to interpret the person's emotions or reactions. Yeah. To overcome this, myself personally, I've honed in my active listening skills. Okay. I pay close attention to tone, pitch, pacing of the caller's voice to gauge their emotional state accurately. Another challenge lies in creating a genuine connection through a phone call, which, you lack with when you're not face to face. To address this, I focused on building a rapport through empathic communication, ensuring that the caller feels heard and understood. Utilizing open-end questions, has been instrumental in encouraging them to share more about their experiences and emotions. Additionally, managing a crisis situation remotely requires a specific approach. Okay. So for this, I have undergone specialized training in being a telephonic counselor, which equipped me with the skills to intervene effectively in critical moments when necessary and coordinate with emergency services to ensure the caller's safety. Despite these challenges, the telephonic counseling experience has proven to be remarkably effective. Okay. Right? It emphasizes the power of verbal communication, allowing individuals to express themselves freely by adapting my personal counseling techniques to this medium and continuously refining my skills. I've navigated these challenges to provide the support to those in need.
So when you look at, this typical misconceptions of telephonic counseling, possibly, what are some of the key challenges that you possibly face in providing the telephonic counseling, and how have you maybe overcome people saying, no, listen, this is not working? How can you open up to someone really on the telephone? So maybe through a typical telephone counseling session, take us through someone that's, for instance, maybe wanting to commit suicide.
No, so look, in that situation there, you've got to listen. That's the most important thing. You've got to listen. You've got to take everything that they're saying seriously. Any small detail that they've given you, hold on to it. Try to keep them not positive, but try to keep them engaged in the conversation. Get as much information as you can from this. And at the end of the day, it's my personal belief that every person will only accept help if they truly want the help. And as hard as that may sound, be it in any call, even a suicide call, if the person's not willing to accept assistance, there's only so much you can do as a counselor. You've tried everything, you've exhausted every avenue, and there's only so much that you've got to do, that you can do, sorry. So, in a typical phone call like that, you just try to build trust with the caller as much as you can, at the same time engaging with the other counselors around you by getting these emergency services or their family involved as fast as you possibly can. Because your main aim at the end of the day is also to save the person. And that's what you're trying to do when you have these calls.
What would your response be what is the protocol? Someone says, "Listen, I want to take my life. I don't want to be here anymore." You said you reach out maybe to the support group that's closest to them, their family. What is their extension of help while you're on the other side?
While I'm on the other side, the first thing I'm trying to establish is what's triggered this.
Okay.
You understand what has triggered this thought of yours right now that you want to commit such a grave act. It's not something to be taken lightly. And that's what you try to start up the conversation with. What has triggered this? What has brought this on? And you try to work from that, whatever it is. I just got out of an ugly relationship, or I was assaulted, whatever it was. And you try to build on that and build their trust during that call as well. That's the most important thing, is to gain the caller's trust, because then they will accept the help that you've given them.
Let's talk about the telephonic counseling, your support group, the commitments that you have as an individual. How do you balance all of that?
Okay, so basically, look, my support group, I've got wonderful mums in the group.
Okay.
We all chip in and help and support where we can. In terms of dealing with counseling in my personal capacity, for now, I do that online via Zoom.
Okay.
So I have clients via Zoom wherever I can. It's mostly on a volunteer basis. Inshallah, in the near future, I'd be opening up my own practice as well.
Inshallah.
Yeah, so once, things settle in my life and, everything. And at the end of the day, I always believe, Allah's hand is always in everything.
Directing
That
you,
is how life is balanced out, being a mom, being a counselor, volunteering where I can. That all just, it's like a puzzle in my life that all just fits together, alhamdulillah, in one way or another, Allah's hand is always in it. That's how I see it.
Sure. You always hear about these stories that somebody's having some sort of mental breakdown, or there's possibly, a crisis like suicide, there's depression, but you don't often hear about the success stories. So through your experience of these online counseling, or telephonic counseling as well, and of course the support group as a group leader, you emphasize and continuously addressing mental health wellness. Let's talk about specific experiences and some success stories. I mean, you don't need to mention names.
No, of course
but what are the stories that stands out for you?
The stories that stand out for me is, like you said, with ADHD. I've had many parents who come that say, my child has ADHD, being diagnosed with ADHD. What's the way forward? And, creating an environment where these parents or these loved ones that help their child or their adult companion through this ADHD. There's been many success stories, in that sense there, where I've created these environments, or I've created this personalized plan that these people can follow through on. And they've gained success in understanding more the condition that they're dealing with their loved one or with themselves. That's one of the successes that I've seen. The other one would be with the mums in my support group. I've had mums who've joined the support group at their lowest, when they just wanted to give up and they couldn't take it any longer. They were at a point of breaking, suicidal, all of these things while they joined the group. And the positive success out of it is that I help them navigate out of that situation. And, listening to their stories today gives me joy, because they come onto the group or to me personally and says, when I joined at my lowest. And your self-help tips and your self-love tips and the coping strategies and all these things that you've given us to empower us as mums have helped me become a mum now, where I can help the new mums who have joined and say, but I've been there, and this is the stuff that Aadila's told me to get out of the situation. Understandable that they've done it themselves. I've just put the strategies in place, and in terms of the success stories with these mums, my main point to mums is that self-love is the most important thing. Self-love. Because if you are not going to look after yourself and you are not going to love yourself, no one's going to do it for you. As much as you may have your support structure behind you, if you're lucky enough, you still need to do it for yourself. And my whole motto with mums is, you can't be pouring from an empty cup. And not just with mums, with anyone. So yes, again, we come back to that water bottle that's overflowing with emotions, but the cup that you're pouring from is empty,
Beautiful.
you know, and if you're not going to fill that up, no one's going to fill it up for you. And by you pouring from your empty cup, you're giving your child nothing. You're giving your partner nothing. You're giving outside people in your life absolutely nothing, and you're giving yourself nothing besides burnout. So my main aim for mums is you've got to take time for yourself, no matter how selfish it might sound, and start off small. It's going to be a 15 minutes a day. You're going to give the baby to whoever's there to help you with, and you're going to stay by yourself and do what you like, be it reading a book, you know, strolling through social media mindlessly. Just for those 15 minutes, start off small. And from there, build up. Start taking half a day for yourself. Start taking an evening for yourself. And by doing these sort of things, it has changed the mums that I've dealt with and the individuals as well. Because it's not only mums who do this. You know, you have a normal individual who just doesn't take time for themselves. Because in our society and in society at large, we all believe that being busy the whole day is being productive the entire day. And we're actually doing something, but we don't realize this busyness the whole day of trying to fill our day up, we're burning ourselves out. So we're just going to take that time for ourselves and just love ourselves enough to allow that. And, you know, the people around you might think that's so selfish. You know, why are you taking this time for yourself and stuff?
Definitely not.
You've got to sometimes be selfish in order for yourself, in order to improve yourself, in order to become more loving as a person. You've got to do the selfish act.
I want to pick up the conversation from there, Aadila, just after the short break. Mindful wellness and nurturing that resilience and community is what Aadila Osman does in the work as a specialist wellness counselor, a mental health advocate, and postnatal depression specialist. But we'll talk more with her just after the short break. Stay with us. Mindful wellness and nurturing that balance of resilience within our community is something Aadila loves doing. Aadila Osman, our specialist wellness counselor, our postnatal depression specialist as well, and support group leader, mental health advocate in studio. So I want to look at communities, Aadila, and we need to wrap up. And don't forget, you can interact with us via our WhatsApp line and our social media pages. This is something that we need to discuss, that we need to talk about, that we need to keep talking about, because moms are stuck at home. Many moms, I just heard of a case yesterday where they just don't have a space to let out their feelings, how they're doing. There's a lack of sleep. There's so many things that's going on in their lives. Who is there to support them? So as a volunteer within the South African Depression and Anxiety Support Group, you're running this support group, and you're doing online telephonic counseling. Let's talk about the cultural and society barriers that often is faced within our community. How do you balance that, promoting mental health awareness, being an advocate? I'm sure there's definitely stigmas, there's barriers as well that you face. So let's just talk about how you deal with it when you do get a challenging moment, when people are not really interested in hearing about mental health.
No, most certainly. You know, I approach it in the fact that I try to make it known that having a mental health issue is not a stigma, firstly. It's an illness just like any other illness that you may have. The same way you would treat a cold, the same way you would treat a cancer. Mental health is just as important. So if you're going to concentrate on an issue that you have physically, I would suggest that you concentrate on the issue that you have mentally as well. It is such an important thing, and many people in every community, not just in our community, in the communities at large, they all have this notion that, you know, your mental health can just be swept under a rug. Any issue you're facing can just be swept under a rug, you know, and just persevere and go through the day. And I try to advocate for it in the sense that that's not how it works. The same way, if you ignore cold, it's going to get worse. It's going to go to your chest. You're going to end up with bronchitis and pneumonia. The same thing, I feel, that if you're going to have an issue mentally and you ignore it, it's going to get worse. All right? And it's proven. It just gets worse, and overflows into every other aspect of your life. So this is something that needs to be treated. And it's just trying to minimize the stigma that people feel around it, and getting people to open up. That's the challenge that I face a lot, you know. So I find, you know, having conversations about mental health as much as I can allows other people to open up, you know, and speak about their experience then, and speak about what they've seen and what they have seen with people around them, and just educating people. You understand? It's not like I'm going to sit in every conversation and start up, you know, I'm bringing up mental health. Here's all the symptoms, you know, this is what it, and, you know, I'm not going to sit with you and try and diagnose you. That, you know, people have that notion now. When you're a counselor, be it a specialist, wellness counselor, psychologist, and you tell them this is my profession, they're like, oh, you know, so what am I thinking
Summing
at
up
the
now.
moment, you know, or
This person,
what do you think about me, or what do you diagnose me with? No, you know, that's not normal. We don't do that sort of thing. But if I see the need to bring up the conversation, I most certainly will. And in professional environments that I engage in, or talks that I have and stuff, that's when I would bring up, you know, the symptoms and things that you go through with mental health, that sort of thing, to educate a person. Education regarding mental health is really important.
So, Aadila, what keeps you motivated to continue volunteering, supporting, being the support group leader, listening to people's problems at the SADC support line? What keeps you motivated to keep doing this?
Well, you know what? My entire life was what I was such a person where I just wanted to help others. And I feel by helping others, it fulfills me. I can see a completely broken person and try and help them. And sometimes it's to my detriment, because I'm trying to help this broken person while they're trying to break me, you know? So it's all about finding that balance as well. But what keeps me motivated is the fact that I know that mental health services are not accessible to the public at large. It's more of a niche market to those who can afford it. And I want to, you know, even when I did my teaching degree, it was at that time when I was doing it, I wanted to work with the rural schools, because I wanted to give education to children who couldn't afford schools. And even when I went into the whole volunteering and the free support group and stuff, it was all about helping people, because that's just one of my strong points that I find. And it just gives me joy. That's what makes me want to do it more. You know, that's my cup. That's filling my cup. Knowing that I've helped you in some way or the other fills my cup. And it makes me feel, that, you know, I've done my bit in the world, right? I feel that that's my purpose. I found my calling. And even when I do it in my private capacity, you know, I don't do it in terms of the monetary value. I do it in terms of I want to help you. So if you can afford it, by all means, you know, we'll discuss that. But if you can't, I'm going to find a way to still be able to help you in the private capacity. And that is why I say most of my work is, you know, volunteer work.
So what would you say are some of the ways that you see your role evolving in the future, both personally and professionally, within the field of the mental health and wellness space?
So in the future, both personally and professionally, within the field of mental health and wellness, I envision ongoing growth and evolution. Personally, I aim to deepen my understanding of the diverse therapeutic approaches, enhancing my ability to tailor counseling to individual needs. Professionally, I foresee a continued commitment to staying at the forefront of research and innovative practices, integrating technology for a wider reach, and potentially contributing to mental health policy development. You know, embracing a holistic approach, I aspire to play a role in fostering societal well-being through advocacy, education, destigmatization of mental health challenges.
And within the community, we see this lack of mental health awareness. What is your goal currently? I mean, we come from an Indian background, a Muslim background, and there isn't enough said and done within our own community. Where do you see yourself there?
Okay, so in the near future, I see myself in our community to host more workshops and more talks and stuff relating to mental health. You know, to create the education around it, so that people start understanding it, so that they start curing themselves as well, and that they get the help that they need, or that they see that the people around them may need. That's my aim for the future.
And I want to also sort of create this understanding and the space to viewers that we hope to, inshallah, have you back soon again, where we want to have a Q&A session that moms can call in, parents can call in,
Most
even
certainly.
grannies can call in to
Yes,
say, listen,
definitely.
I see this symptom of, this mom, my grandchild, or, my own child. What can we do to help her? How can we support them? Because I know very commonly in the Indian community, when you have a baby, the mom actually takes the daughter out of her home environment and puts her in the home environment that she knows of with her mother, or the mother comes and lives with a daughter and supports that child. But I know of a case, and I can speak specifically, just yesterday I heard, where this mom is really struggling. She's actually from India. She's down here from an area that she is foreign to. She doesn't have her support base. She doesn't have her mom, her sisters, her community. But she has her in-laws around who's very supportive. But they don't actually know how to support her.
Yes.
What would be your, and then I think in wrap up, in conclusion, what would be your approach in that situation?
Look, firstly, it would be to get the mum support. That would be the main thing. Be it joining the support group so she can speak to other mums, be it one-on-one counseling as well. It's very important for her to now find herself as a new mum. Secondly, you understand that it takes a village to raise a child. She has the village in terms of her in-laws. So it would be more educating them as well about what the mum's challenges are and how they can support her in the right way, not the way that they see fit. That would be the way, forward for a situation like that. But inshallah, with the next time we do have a Q&A session and when we have another talk again, these are all things that we can address with moms calling in and asking their questions. And, just destigmatizing would be such an amazing goal for you and I to achieve around mental health. To get rid of that stigma around mental health would be amazing.
Definitely. We'll hopefully leave your contact details as well. And of course, they can contact you through SEDEC. But we really, really appreciate your time. It was an absolute pleasure chatting to you. We hope to have some great future shows where we can help and support moms in the situation, because they are literally raising the world, the next generation.
That's what they are,
so, Jazakallah for your time. All the best till we chat again. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah for having me. Thank you so much.
That was Aadila Osman, and we really, really appreciate her time. As we wrap up today's special episode, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Aadila, of course, for sharing her expertise and passion with us. Aadila's dedication to fostering well-being, resilience, and a sense of community shines brightly through her work as a specialist wellness counselor and mental health advocate. Her commitment to supporting individuals, especially moms dealing with postnatal depression, serves as an inspiration to us all. So we appreciate her time. And remember, this journey to mental wellness is ongoing. And as Aadila expressed, her insights have provided us with individual tools, possibly, and perspectives to navigate it with strength and compassion. So join us next time for more enlightening discussions on various health and wellness topics. The next show, we speak to Sheikha Ruqayya Samsuddin, who guides us on knowing how your child, if your child rather, is ready for his or her hifz journey. Until then, take care and remember to prioritize your wellness, your well-being. Fill your cup. Thank you once again for joining us. Wassalamu alaikum and goodbye.